No DQ Galaxy, we are live with a recap of Friday Night Smackdown for August 2nd, 2024. It's August. You know what that means. We are now less than 24 hours away until the 2024 Summerslam Premium Live event. We have a lot to discuss. On the eve of the biggest party of the summer, we kicked off the show with the WWE champion, Cody Rhodes. He called out Solo Sikoa. Solo did come down to the ring by himself. Crowd immediately started chanting, "We want Roman." Solo told the people to acknowledge him. They responded with "Solo sucks." We had a back and forth verbal debate. Solo commented how Cody beat a weak tribal chief at WrestleMania. Solo said he's not weak, he is dangerous. And then he proposed a Bloodline rules match for SummerSlam, since Cody bragged about beating Roman Reigns in a Bloodline rules match at WrestleMania. The Bloodline then appeared through the crowd. They were surrounding the ring. Cody Rhodes said he's not scared of them. He called Jacob Fatu a dumb son of a bitch, which the crowd popped for. And Cody ultimately accepted the match. And Solo Sikoa said that they were going to spare Cody because they were focused on winning the tag team titles in the main event. And then Cody ended the promo by saying all he has to do on Saturday is beat the wannabe tribal chief. It was a good opening segment. We did have the Bloodline rules match established for SummerSlam, which all but guarantees an appearance from Roman Reigns. Now we don't have to worry about a DQ or a count out. How will Roman Reigns interfere? Now Cody's going to be by himself. And I feel much like WrestleMania, Cody will have his friends, maybe Randy Orton, maybe Kevin Owens, but there'll still be a numbers issue. And that's when Roman will make his return. And to answer the comment, no, I will not be changing my pick. I will not be changing any of my picks. I feel my picks are solid for SummerSlam. Jimmy Uso is another person who could potentially appear on Cody's behalf. And it might not be enough. And that's when we'll have the real reinforcement arrive. We had a video promo from Carmelo vowing to defeat Andrade in their rematch. It was a rematch from, I believe, 2 weeks ago. Carmelo Hayes versus Andrade. Another really good match with these two. I wonder if they're going to have 4, 5, 6 matches, maybe a best of 7. I'm not sure where this is going. It was competitive, back and forth. Andrade went for the message early on, but Carmelo escaped to the outside. Then Carmelo got the upper hand for a while. He went up top, but Andrade caught him. Andrade gave him a superplex. Could not make the cover, though. And then after another commercial break, they traded some shots. Andrade hit his elbow strike, did a moonsault. Could not finish off Carmelo, though. Crowd chanted, "This is awesome." Andrade put on the figure 4. Carmelo got to the rope. Carmelo was able to counter the message again, but then Andrade countered Carmelo's pin attempt, and Andrade once again defeated Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo kicked out of a lot before he was finally beaten. That's 0-2 for Carmelo. I guess the idea is that Andrade's the veteran and Carmelo put up a great fight, but came up a bit short. Caleb Thomas sent in a $2 super chat, and I suppose I will talk about this now. Caleb said, tired of Jacob Fatu's no selling like Hogan. The thing is, Jacob Fatu is being booked like an absolute monster, and WWE wants people to think that this guy is unstoppable. Now, we'll talk more about that in just a few moments here. But thank you for that super chat. I appreciate it. We had Legado del Fantasma backstage. Santos Escobar was talking about how they need to get back on track. And that led to Apollo versus Santos Escobar, a match that I really did not care about whatsoever. I feel like it's too little too late with Apollo. They've pushed him. They stop pushing him. They give him a goofy gimmick. Then they have him back to old Apollo. He still has crappy music. I just don't really care at this point. It feels like filler. Baron Corbin's out there. You have Legado del Fantasma. Very basic SmackDown match. Not much to say about it. You had outside interference from Legado, but then Baron Corbin would even the odds. Then a mystery person grabbed the foot of Baron Corbin. And this distraction allowed Santos to pin Apollo with the Phantom Driver. I guess now we have to figure out who grabbed the foot of Baron Corbin. Don't really care, to be perfectly honest. Santos beating Apollo really means nothing. We had a Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill pre-match promo for their tag team title shot. And then we had the Logan Paul homecoming in Cleveland, Ohio. Crowd booed Logan in his hometown. He called LA Knight delusional. Logan said that LA Knight will not be winning in Logan's hometown. LA Knight said the fans like LA Knight because just like him, they are tryhards that will never make it. Logan did admit that, yes, he's only had 2 title defenses, but that's 2 more than LA Knight will ever have. We then had Logan reveal this championship banner. However, the banner was defaced with a yeah was spray painted or drawn on this banner. And then LA Knight came out, said he had another banner. He had to go find it though. He went in the backstage area, ran into Pretty Deadly. They were pitching their musical. He just moved on. And then he found Logan Paul's Prime truck, which had been parked at the start of the show. Logan was very upset. He ran backstage. LA Knight drove off in the Prime truck, and that was the last we saw of LA Knight. Was it the highlight of the show? Maybe, but they should have destroyed the truck. How do you not destroy the truck? Now, maybe the whole deal here is that LA Knight's going to go on a 24-hour joyride, and then he'll actually make his entrance at SummerSlam driving the truck to ringside. I presume that's what they're doing here. If there's no follow-up with the truck, I'm going to say this was pretty lame. But I feel like he'll show up at the Premium Live event with the truck. He would have taken it for a 24-hour joyride. Logan Paul was entertaining here, and I feel like he's going to lose the title, especially coming off of his recent activity on Twitter and X. Fans are going to be even more pissed now if Logan retains the title, but then the people in charge, Logan Paul, could always say, well, it's getting heat. The question is, will it be good heat? I'm going to go ahead and say LA Knight wins the title. We had the women's tag team titles up for grabs. Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair challenging the champions Alba Fyre and Isla Dawn. It was a basic SmackDown TV match. Jade and Bianca took the fight right to the champions, and they flexed a little bit, showing off their power. And then for a while, the champions gained control. But then Bianca Belair got the hot tag. Bianca built up some momentum, came off the top with a double cross body. Things started to break down. And then just as the challengers were on the verge of winning, Blair Davenport interfered, attacked Jade Cargill, causing a disqualification. And Jade and Bianca tried to fight back, but it was 3-on-2. Blair Davenport and the tag team champions stood tall. I guess they're a new faction now, and at least you keep the titles on the champions a little bit longer. Whatever. We'll see if this new faction can amount to anything. Time will tell. It remains to be seen. We had our little video package, the final built-up for the SmackDown Women's Championship match. We had Nia Jax and Bayley. Nia Jax just bragging about how she's going to win the title, how she's run through all these women in WWE, bringing up all the names, including Lyra Valkyria. And then we had Nia backstage with Tiffany Stratton. Nia had a gift for her new friend. She had a pink briefcase. And then Tiffany celebrated having this new briefcase. She was confronted by Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. We'll see where that goes. Then we had our main event tag team titles on the line. DIY cut a pre-match promo in Cleveland, Johnny Gargano's neck of the woods, his hometown. Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell made a brief cameo. Johnny and Candice's child was there with them. And Johnny brought up how his first event he ever watched was SummerSlam 96 in Cleveland, Ohio. And he vowed to win the championship, make a moment in the same arena almost 30 years later. What is it? 28 years? Yeah, 2004, 1996. Almost 30 years. That's crazy. So we had the tag team title match. Bloodline dominated early on. DIY, though, worked well together. They built up some momentum. Ciampa came off the top with an air raid crash to Tama Tonga. Tama kicked out of it. And then we had Jacob Fatu tagging in. He's been booked like a monster. The tide turned for a while, but then Fatu was on the outside. He charged at Ciampa, hit the steel steps. Ciampa and Gargano took down Tama with the Shatter Machine. They went for the meet in the middle, but then we had the outside interference. Tonga Loa got on the apron, distracted the referee. Solo Sikoa hit Gargano with the Samoan spike, and surprisingly, Gargano kicked out. I'm a little surprised that they would have Gargano kick out of Solo's finisher, considering Solo's going for the title. It did protect Johnny, made him look strong in this moment. He kicked out, and he even started to build up momentum again But after Gargano hit a poison Rana to Fatu, as mentioned earlier, Fatu no-sold it like he's Hulk Hogan or Orange Cassidy or Rey Fenix or Penta or any number of AEW stars. He popped right back up from it. He hit Gargano with a Samoan drop, moonsault, and then finally the Impaler DDT or the Implant DDT, whatever you want to call it. And Jacob Fatu got the win over a very game Johnny Gargano. Jacob Fatu was not going to be losing here. Hometown boy loses, but it makes sense. I mean, I'm not a fan of the hot potatoing of the tag team titles, but it made sense for SummerSlam. Bloodline has the momentum. They got the tag titles. Will they get the world title next? It did make sense in the booking. I will say that. We have a couple of super chats here. Dave Scheffler sent in $5. Thank you, Dave. Says, I thought Jimmy would come out to help DIY. It sucks that DIY lost the titles that quick. I agree that they should have had a longer run with the titles, but you have to look at the big picture here. The most important thing is to build up the main event for SummerSlam, and having the title change does that. Now the Bloodline has some titles, and the story is, can they complete the trifecta and have 3 champions after SummerSlam? Jimmy Uso, I could see him showing up at some point in the Bloodline Rules match. And as I mentioned earlier, when that's not enough, the numbers game is still working in the Bloodline's favor. That's when Roman Reigns shows up. Or they may even hold off on Jimmy a little bit longer. He's been injured, but I believe Jey Uso said in an interview that Jimmy should be back soon in WWE. How soon remains to be seen. Thank you for the super chat, Dave. And Building Nexus also sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. I very much appreciate it. Comment says, have WWE given up on Tonga Loa? Him not winning the titles with his brother is a massive red flag, in my opinion. Well, I have not watched much New Japan Pro Wrestling. Last I remember seeing Tonga Loa, he was Camacho in WWE, and he didn't exactly light the world on fire. Now, of course, going to New Japan could improve your skills as a professional wrestler. But since he's come back, like, to me, he doesn't really stand out. And quite frankly, I don't even think Tama Tonga stands out that much. I said this several weeks ago. The real star of the team, of the Bloodline, is Jacob Fatu. Hell, I think Jacob Fatu stands out more than Solo Sikoa at this point. Like, to me, he is the star of the group right now. Just saying. And Camacho, Tama Tonga Loa, whatever you call him, Tonga Loa, he's got that eye patch. Jacob Fatu getting the push. I don't have a problem with it. I say push Jacob Fatu as much as possible. He is red hot right now, and let him go with it. So overall, I thought SmackDown was solid. Pretty decent build-up with Solo Sikoa versus Cody Rhodes. A lot of the show, though, felt like filler. I thought the Logan Paul segment with LA Knight was good. You had the Nia Jax segment. Wasn't much as far as build-up goes. Andrade and Carmelo was a very good match, but didn't really do anything for SummerSlam. It's just getting those guys on TV. I give it a B-. Not great, but an enjoyable SmackDown overall. It's hard to say what I thought was the best show of the week. Maybe Raw, but it was close 3 ways. no show this week really stood out to me as a top tier show. I think they mostly played it safe with SmackDown, and I expect SummerSlam to be a great show. I think we're going to have some significant moments, and I am looking forward to it. We'll see what happens. I'm not changing any of my picks. I'm staying confident with what I went with, and I will be back after SmackDown, so make sure you guys tune in. NoDQ.com will keep you covered with everything related to SummerSlam, live results coverage. And then after the show, I will be back with my thoughts on SummerSlam right here on the No DQ YouTube channel. So make sure you guys tune in for that. NoDQ.com and the YouTube channel. Easy access to the channel, NoDQ.com/YouTube. I'll be back right after SummerSlam. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the show. Say yes to NoDQ.com, and I will see you all next time.